Hello there, and thanks for clicking this video. Hopefully the fact that you're here means that you found value in the last one and that you've come back again, so great. Today we're talking about Node. It's the second video in the series. We're diving in, probably to exports and imports. But again, before I do, real quick, any feedback you have for me, let me know. I'm open to it, good or bad. Put it in the comments. Tell me how I can make this, more valuable to you. If that means you want to explore other aspects of Node, like APIs or AWS, right? You want to get into serverless or something, let me know. If it's another language, if you're like, hey, C# or Unity, I want to make games, we can certainly do that instead. That's cool. I'm familiar with that. If you're into blockchain, you want to do like Solidity or something, I can do those. Let me know down below. Otherwise, I'm going to get into it. One thing I just want to do real quick from the last video, I never committed this to Git, so I'm going to do that. We're going to Git status real quick, and I know this isn't a video really about Git. I'll do a separate series on that if we want, but I do just want to real quick check this in, so I kind of have like that checkpoint from where the last one ended and where this went, and I figured I might as well record it. Some people may be able to pick up on Git and the commands for it and stuff just by watching me use it. So yeah, I'm gonna say video 1 end. It's a good commit message, I guess, as good as any. Actually, that's false. That's blatantly false. It could be way better, but I don't really know. First video checkpoint, that's what I'm going with. So yeah, hopefully I can push that real quick. Cool, so that's out there to the world. The other thing was, I guess I should reorganize this. I think I'm going to start doing a folder called videos. And in there, well, look at me, I'm being indecisive now. We're going to do just examples. And then in that, I'm going to do video 1, and inside video 1 is where I'll move that main.js we used last time, and then everything I'm doing today I'll do in a video 2 folder. Just a little bit of organization there for us. Okay, so video 2, here we go. Module exports and imports, and the reason I wanted to cover this, and we'll close this main.js here, is because I think this will give you the most value, right? If you really want to hit the ground running with Node, right now just being able to console log something isn't super useful, but if you want to get to the point where you can start making like apps or backend services, applications, whatever that is, if it's an API that you're working on for like an app, right? Like if you're doing Android or iOS app, whatever that is, I think this will be really where most of the value is, because imports and exports allow you to use, well, first of all, reuse content and code you write, but then also leverage stuff other people's made. A lot of times if I'm trying to solve a problem, first thing I do is go to Google and see if someone's already solved it, because I have limited time. I don't want to reinvent the wheel. If someone else already did something, like for instance, like time. Date and times are always rough to do and work with, and Moment solved it pretty decently, so why rewrite that functionality if I don't have to, if I can just write a line and import Moment. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to cover some importing third parties, then we're going to write a couple exports, and then we're going to show you how to import your own exports, because it's a little bit different, not too different. But yeah, that's what we're going to do. And again, trying to do this in 15 or 20 minutes or so, just trying to keep the much value in as little time as possible. So I'll make a main.js file here in the video 2 folder, which is where we'll be living for now. So the first thing I want to do is introduce you to Module.exports. There's a few ways to do it, but basically that's a Node thing that you can leverage. And basically whatever it is when someone imports this file, for instance, if someone was importing this main.js file, whatever you set this equal to is what kind of gets spit out of that require. And I think you'll see here in just a moment. So yeah, a lot of this is research, right? It's really helpful if you know how to do the research to find good packages, right? Just knowing packages are out there isn't enough, right? You need to be at least a little bit good at finding those packages. I don't want to dive too deep into any specific package. If you see a package you like and you're like, oh, I really want to know everything about that, let me know in the comments. I'll dive into it in another video. But this one, I'm just doing a brief overview on a few packages, and we're moving on. So, thing you could do is just search npm. You can find packages on here. For instance, I think short ID is a pretty simple one. You can leverage real quick. Another one is UUID, but I think I'm personally prefer the short ID package better. But you can use either one. But on any of these, you can look and see, okay, this is getting 30 million downloads a week. Probably pretty good, right? Obviously, nothing's exact, but you can audit these, right? They should be open source. You should be able to look at their code and see how they work. They should have a GitHub link, things like that. You can see their dependencies, so on and so forth. So, I guess the couple of these that I'm going to show, we'll do short ID real quick. And a lot of times you can just see, oh look, const, which we didn't cover, we'll talk about const, short ID equals, and then you require it. And that's really it. And then you can see they generate a short ID as an example. So a good example of this is like YouTube, right? If you're seeing this video, chances are on the top you see like this video has a unique link. You can generate links like that with this short ID. So that's the value of short ID. And you can read all about it. Non-sequential URL friendly unique ID generator. So back to the code. If I want to use short ID in here, I just do the require. Now, this package doesn't exist. If you try and run it like this, you'll get an error, and I can even show you that. This is now in examples, video 2, main.js, and boom, that's what a node error looks like. So you see it through an error, cannot find module short ID, right? No good. Which means this line here of trying to use it to log something will definitely fail. So how do we add the package? Well, to add a third-party package to your project, that's when you do an npm. You can do npm space install space the package name, in this case short ID. I can just paste it. Oh, missed my space there. And it should add it for you. And there you go. So it's added 2 packages from 2 contributors. There you go. And the reason it added 2, if you look at short ID, they have 1 dependency. So the last UUID we saw didn't have a dependency. Short ID is dependent on nano ID. So yeah, for instance, if I would have did UUID instead, it would have only added that 1 package because it had no dependencies. And you can always track these by looking in your package JSON. So we talked about the package JSON a little bit. You can see it added a dependency section with the dependency we added as well as the version, right? So it's saying 2.2.15 or higher. Short IDs added. And if you do like a node remove, it'll remove those. You can keep doing node install. It'll just add to this list of dependencies that your package requires. So yeah, so that's it. So now this won't fail. This will actually find that package since we npm installed it, and it will put it in here. Real quick on the exports, I want to just export an object because you can't put code in there like that. What I'm going to do, I'm going to make a quick change. I'm going to make this a function. And if you're familiar with functions, you know, you have parentheses, you can pass in parameters, and then everything in the brackets is what gets executed. And then, fun fact, I'm just going to execute it right away. So this function, basically, whenever it's exported, will just fire. And it's kind of like the main file, if that makes sense. If you're familiar with like the C world, how you have like a main, and that main function is what fires. This Module.exports function is what will fire from our main. So with that said now, we can do this console log again, and we can see what shortid.generate does, right? So this, I believe it's an object that comes out of here. So this object has this property called generate, which is a function that we're firing. So let's generate it and see what happens. And just like we expected, boom, it made a short ID. So you can see it's only what, 9 characters, including the underscore, which is what we expect. And every time you do this, it should be different, right? There should be like billions of possibilities. Yep, so there we go. We got a different one. And sure, we could dive deeper into this if we wanted to. We could see if there's, ways to customize it and all that stuff. You can see they give more examples of what they look like. Not going to dive too deep, but you can see a little bit of how that works. And if you really wanted to, you can see a little bit more behind the scenes by just logging that short ID object. Right? So that's one of the nice things about Node here with this console log. You can really dump anything you want. And you can see here short ID is a function. Has generate, or no, it has a function generate. Oh yeah, it looks like it's got a seed function, a worker function, characters, and is valid. So it's got some stuff to it. You can dive deeper into this if you want. I encourage it. But that right there is basically just how you can generate short IDs. And that's really all there is to it. Of course, you can keep checking more projects too. For instance, some others I'd recommend. Axios is nice. If you want to make requests out to like a REST endpoint or some other HTTP request, you can do that, right? So you can do like web scraping or something like that. So yeah, that's Axios. What else? Moment is a good one for time. Moment is a lightweight JavaScript date library for parsing, validating, manipulating, and formatting dates. And if you scroll through here, let's see, 12 million downloads, pretty decent. Looks like they got a 2.0 changelog. No dependencies, which is nice. Looks like there's 42,000 things that are dependent upon it. Normally, I was going to say there's a GitHub link. You can go to their GitHub. And a lot of times you can see how to implement it. Looks like they're, for whatever reason, migrating to 2.0 or something. Either way, if you know the name of it, it's as easy as doing npm install moment. And then we can check that package.json if we want. You don't have to, but you can check it and see. There it is, yeah. Version 2.26. So now if I wanted to, I could do require moment. And that's all there is to it. Constant's constant, by the way. It's similar to let, except you're basically saying whatever this variable is, it's not going to change. It's going to remain constant. And since these objects come out, you can fire functions on them, but they don't really change. They stay constant, so that's why that's set up that way. Moment has a lot of great functionality. I don't want to waste much time on this because I could go into it, but I believe it has a format function, if I'm not mistaken. And I think you call it like a function too. And then you can pass in a format string. So I think M would give you like the current month or something. We could try it out. And we'll comment out short ID for now. We don't really need to see short ID every time. Yep, and that's 5, yeah, because it's May. Let's try day year maybe. I haven't memorized all the formatting options for moment. Yeah, so May 21st, 2020. So there you go. That's moment. Moment's also a nice one. Other ones you could look into, Yargs is good if you want to take in parameters. Like if you want to make like an actual like application like in a console, like maybe like a old school like, typing game or something. Yargs is good for that. And it's pirate themed, right? Yargs be a Node.js library for Hardy's trying to parse op strings. So there you go. A little bit about that. 50 million weekly downloads. Pretty good. npm. Oh, looks like you can do I short for install to install things. And then you can see, you just constant argv equals yargs.argv, and then you can pull it in and start seeing if the person who executed this node command passed in like a ships or a distance. Those values are put on that argv. And then, so it's pretty straightforward. Definitely recommend checking out that. Yarn's kind of like an upgrade to NPM if you also want to look at Yarn. That can upgrade the way you install and manage your packages. A little bit more secure. Otherwise, I think let's, because we're already at 15 minutes, so we don't got long, let's make some packages and just play with our own, right? So inside this video2 folder, I'm going to make another file, and we're going to call this one self.js. I'm going to make an object of myself, kind of piggybacking what I did on the last video of making this my object, right? And so yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to do Module.exports equals and give it an object. And you can see I'm not going to import anything for this. It's just going to import an object with my name. This cache variable doesn't exist anymore. We'll leave Node.js as my favorite language. Maybe I'll add a movie. Matrix for sure. What else did I want to give it? Number 42. So yeah, I mean, you could get as creative as you want. You can build functions in here, arrays, whatever. Point is, if I want to pull that in, it's just a little bit different, right? I can make it a constant object if I'm assuming it's not going to change. However, if, maybe one of these, I want that number to increment or something, then maybe I just use let. It's up to you. I'm going to call it myself, require, and then you just link to it. So I usually do // for like from here, and then you get good recommendations. You see it found that file. Let's say I wanted to include the main from last week. I could go back a directory into video1 and then main. The issue though, if I did that, there's no Module.exports here, so it's not really going to export it right. It'll execute this, but I mean, you're not really going to see anything in here. And I think that's probably why it's not recommending it. But if I stay in my current folder, which I don't need to path that way, I can link to self, and that's it. You don't got to put the .js. You don't have to put the extensions. I think it assumes the extension for you. And then boom, this should export that. And then if we want to log that just so we can see it, I'll log my self object like that. And again, no plus, I'm not appending it. It's not a string. I'm doing a comma, and I'm including it as a separate console log. And fire it. There it is. There's the date from the moment again, and there's the self object, and you can see it's got all the data attributed to it. So that's really it, right? You make the modules exports, and then that's what comes out. Now let's say I did something else in here, like if I did elite, talking about Star Wars here. Don't tell anyone my secret. Now, if I fire this again, you don't see that secret in there, right? Even though that's there. If I try to console log it, throw an error, it doesn't exist. It is scoped in here. It only exists in here. Now, I could use it in functions or other stuff in here if I didn't want to expose that, to whatever's importing this object. That's fine. Just wanted to kind of demonstrate that. But yeah, so that's how you... we'll do some comments too. One thing I don't think I talked about enough is comments, which maybe I'll do a video on writing good comments, but import third party, and for this I'm just going to say import local, and that's really it, right? So I imported a local one, I imported third party ones. You can also do functions on here. I can do that as an example. Like I can make a function called say hi. I could define it as such. Let's see, add some formatting here for us. And then in here, console.log hello. Right, even that in its basic form should work, right? So now if I come back over here, or even if I don't, let's just say I execute that. You'll see that function is a function, but it never actually logged that hello. But now if I do something right after like that, I can totally do that, right? It's an object with a property. That property, I can call it. It's publicly scoped. And there it is. It comes out this time right here on the bottom. So that's modules. Hopefully you found some value in that. Hopefully that makes sense, and you can start to see how easy it is to go to this website, find packages for stuff you want to do. And if not, start writing packages, right? Open source them. Maybe let me know that I inspired you to make a package and I'll contribute. You want code reviews or something, I can do that. Otherwise, like I said, hopefully this was valuable. Let me know in the comments if it is, if it's not, how it could be better, what else you want to see. Throw this video a like if it was. I definitely appreciate that. And I will probably be posting a video in another week, and we'll see what that one's going to be about. Maybe diving deep into packages. I don't know. We'll see what the comments say.